Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It is Craig Harris, the black man sitting in the green chair, and I'm back with another podcast. Let me turn down that. Thought I put that on. All right? Thought I put that on. So, what is going on, folks? What's happening? It is blistering hot here in Kentucky. I mean, it is so bad outside. So bad. I guess you all can't. They call it a heat bubble. A heat bubble. I don't know what that is, but it is brutal. It is absolutely brutal outside. So if you're outside, if you're in the South, just be careful. It is terrible outside. So hospital I work at, we had 10 people admitted on heat exhaustion. One of them damn near died. So just be careful if you're outside. Just please be careful if you're outside. It is bad. But what is going on out there, folks? Happy Saturday. I'm going to get it in today because I got to work tomorrow. So shout out to everybody out there. Big shout out to Porter Rock 77. Go check out the 60 Frames No Lag podcast. We had a good time. I was on there. Big shout out to Jay Fonzarelli. Again, go check his channel out. He's got some good content. Jay Fonzarelli was also on BGST. And he actually was talking games and the bitching and moaning that's going on in the Xbox community. I'm going to get into that a little bit. I'm also talking about the crackdown, quote unquote, hate that a lot of the people are saying that's out there. And I'm going to talk about why it is out there. And I'm going to talk about why, because nobody's explaining why. At least I've not heard it. Now, granted, I've been off. I've been out of the loop for 2 days. 2 days. So, because I work Thursday and Friday, and I got to work tomorrow. So, but yeah, we'll talk about the Xbox One console, talk about this Michael Pachter saying that it's not going to do well. I don't agree all the time, but I don't disagree completely, but I don't agree completely. So shout out to all the old and new subs. Yeah, I did hit 250 subs. So I'm going to give away a t-shirt in August. It will just say Craig's Corner on it. That's all. It'll say Craig's Corner Podcast. And then on the back, it'll say Porch Light Pod is what it's going to say. So that's what I'm aiming for. I'm just going to do extra large, one size fits all. And everybody knows if they want to buy one for their woman, women always look good walking around in the big T-shirt. Everybody knows this. Every guy knows this. The big T-shirt is cool. So, so yeah, let me get on to this. Yeah, I'm gonna probably go out and buy Elite Dangerous if it's $39.99 because it still hasn't come in yet, and I'm waiting on it. But if it doesn't come in by 3 o'clock, and if it's $39.99 on the PlayStation Store, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it because I paid $37 for it, and I can just call eBay and just tell them to refund my money. So hasn't been too good. I see that, Dion. Yeah, you tell me about it in shortly. But yeah, I've been mad because I've not been able to play that. So, but I ordered it. But let me get into the news. Let me start with COMICCON. COMICCON is going on right now in Anaheim, and DC is kicking it off here in about another. I want to say, was it noon? So about another 2 hours, DC comes up there. The big news right now, and again, let me start with the good news. The Bright trailer with Will Smith looked real good. Young Justice, that looked good. Teen Titans, again, all this stuff for me, because I'm a big guy. I like that kind of stuff, so I'm reporting it now. All that looked really good. The Defenders trailer, the Defenders is next month on Netflix. If you all need to check that shit out, that's Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. I can't get down with Iron Fist, but shout out. They're making a season 2 of Iron Fist. But the big news at Comic-Con that just came flying out of the blue yesterday, and again, I'm reporting this because Fox News is reporting it, and the Hollywood Reporter, which is kind of the gospel, what we go by out there when we report our movie news, they're reporting that Ben Affleck is no longer going to be Batman. I shit you not. This was breaking news. I saw this when I got home last night. And that saddens me because I'm already sad because one of my favorite bands, Linkin Park, their lead singer committed suicide. We're still trying to get over Chris Cornell's death. We're in mourning for that. Now we got to deal with this shit. So, but shout out to his family. I certainly hope his kids are taken care of. And I know Lincoln Park, that fan base will rally and come together. But on to this Ben Affleck thing. This is huge Comic-Con news because this is hovering over the DC press conference that's coming up in a few hours. And either DC is going to not say nothing, they're going to address it head on, or I don't know what they're going to do because those are their choices, you know, and they're going to have to say something because they're going to get, they may not even take questions. They may pull a Trump and not take no questions, but it's sad no matter what, because he actually was a pretty good Batman. But I just think that his personal situation, you know, with him getting divorced and all that kind of stuff, that's just kind of bleeding over. And this other movie that he just did not get received very well. So yeah, Chester, when their band played here in Lexington, I saw them play. It was them, it was POD, Days of the New, and Hoobastank. And as he was leaving the floor, I looked at him and said, "Hey, good job." And he said, "Thank you." And I mean, this guy's, look, let me just keep this 100% with you. If you feel you are depressed, if you feel things aren't going right with you, go talk to somebody. I mean, go talk to a clergyman, go talk to somebody. It's not worth departing this earth and leaving family behind. It's unfair to them. It's selfish. So I am saddened by it, but hopefully this is just the people. If this reaches your voice, I don't care if you need to direct message me and I'll talk to you. I will give this. Don't do anything stupid. It's just not worth it. It is extremely upsetting right now. So, but it is what it is. Let me get back to Comic-Con. So we got some really good trailers out at Comic-Con, like I thought we would. We're going to get more trailers today. Marvel is concentrating heavily on Thor Ragnarok. Again, we may see that Infinity War trailer that we saw at D23 last week. Hopefully they make that an official trailer and they put that out. So we'll just have to wait and see, because that trailer was nasty. I loved it. But that's pretty much it from Comic-Con. You all check that out, comiccon.com. You can look at the live streams. I'm going to be doing that here later on. I'll definitely come back on with the Porch Light podcast to just kind of sum up Comic-Con. I'm still going to do the big UFO show this evening too. Anybody interested in that? Because some more Roswell news did come out about a week and a half ago. So, because we're at the 55th anniversary of that crash. So, but we'll get into that. That'll be later on, you know, God willing. So, but if somebody, I can tell you this right now, if somebody is on their PlayStation, can you tell me how much Elite Dangerous is? If it's $39.99, I'll go ahead and buy it, like right now, because I don't know if it's going to come in today or not. I've not seen UPS. So, but yeah, that UFO show, what's that? Well, that's part of my Porch Light podcast. I'm gonna do a I did a big UFO show. It's like one of the first podcasts I did. So I'm gonna do one on Roswell, the Roswell crash, the stuff that's been reverse engineered, because we're using it all the time. So you just don't know you're using it. So, but let that sink in. That'll be later on today. But if Elite Dangerous is $39.99, I'm gonna go ahead and because I'm just waiting on it to come in. And so, you know, do I want to hear a joke? Not yet. You can tell it right now, though, Spartan. But let me go ahead and get to the news. Let me get to the gaming news. Oh, my goodness. I kind of rambled. NPD, which I normally don't report on because nobody really cares about NPD, because NPD, it's a surprise if the PlayStation doesn't come out on top. So you know, also the Porch Light podcast for anybody that wants to join, that will be about 6 o'clock this evening. That's the plan. That way I can squeeze in a little more Comic-Con, and I'll squeeze that in too. So, but I got to get my notes ready on that. So I can't find them, but I'll get them. But NPD, all right, so June NPD has come out for 2017, and we see the game listing and things like that. And shout out to the people that bought the Justice game, the fighting game, and also the Tekken. And the people who are, hopefully you enjoying those games, those were the big bangers on that side. Ratchet and Clank, though, I believe was the #1 PlayStation 4 game. And so my point is that, so all this talk about games that matter, like exclusives don't matter. If exclusives did not matter, then that game would not have sold what it did. Neither would have Zelda. Zelda almost did a 1-to-1 ratio. So on that. So it's, I just don't, well, I'm gonna get into that more in the commentary, but so Sony absolutely has wiped the floor with Microsoft this NPD. If you look at the numbers, shout out to Next Gen 720 because he's got a good video up, and so did Porter Rock. Shout out to both of them. Porto's point this week on this subject was really good. So shout out to them. Go check that out. He did a real good podcast. It's like 20 to 25 minutes long, and Next Gen 720 did one too. It's about 25, 30 minutes long. So, but you've got these games. I really want to concentrate on Ratchet and Clank. I'm not going to buy Ratchet. Is it Ratchet and Clank? No, yeah, it was a Ratchet and Clank. I'm sorry. It was the other one. And now I can't remember. My God, my mind's going a million miles a minute. Yeah. But my point is that you needed to Crash. There's a Crash Bandicoot that came out. Did I say Ratchet and Clank? I'm sorry. I meant Crash Bandicoot comes out. Wasn't that one of the top? That was the top PlayStation game, I think. My point is that it's an exclusive game. And yeah, it may be a timed exclusive, but if exclusives didn't matter, then that game would not have sold that well. And Spartan is right. Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that came out, what, in February or March? That is still charting. And that, because you need to have a PlayStation. I know somebody that bought that game, and they called me up last night stunned at how good that game is. And they just have a PlayStation 4. They don't have a 4K TV, blah, blah, blah. I just told them to treat Aloy well. You know, so my point is that you try not to get too caught up in when people tell you that exclusive games don't matter. There's a triad of consoles out: the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. Two of those three consoles concentrate extensively on exclusives, and surprise, surprise, as Gomer Powell would say, surprise, surprise, those are the two leading platforms here this year. Okay, and that you guys gotta really let that sink in. And for the people who are arguing that all people play as multiplats, well, then Horizon Zero Dawn, then if that's true, and Microsoft truly has the best online infrastructure, why are they not leading this console thing? I mean, isn't that a pretty good question to ask? Shout out to J-Dub. I saw you out there, brother. Hopefully it's cooler up there, cooler down there where you are, because we are, like I said, we are getting pounded here. It is bad. So, but, you know, my point to you all is NPD to me is not super important. It is important to understand the conversation, where it's going. Microsoft is losing market share in the United States to Sony and Nintendo. They put their eggs in the Xbox X. Now let's get to some numbers here. This is coming from VentureBeat. Excuse me. VentureBeat has reported that there's a 3% increase in software sales on the Xbox. Most of that can be attributed, I shit you not, to that Call of Duty game, the Black Ops 2. I think the one that just went backwards compatible like 4 weeks ago or something like that. That actually increased the sales, because that game is now really hard to find. But they lost money, and they had a decrease in hardware sales. So what this means is that software sales also includes services. So in the summertime, as you know, your kids are at home. You may be at home a little bit more. You're going to increase the, you know, if you watch Netflix on your Xbox, if you watch Hulu on your Xbox, You know, I don't know if Amazon's on Xbox, so I haven't even looked for it. But you get what I'm saying. You may stream music through your Xbox. That's fine. I'm not knocking the system. If that's what you're doing, though, that's going to be an increase in software sales. Also, the games with gold, EA access, things like that. So this kind of goes to what Next Gen was saying. I disagree with him in the sense that he may think that being able to have access to Madden 3 to 5 days early is a big deal, but it's not like they unlock the entire game. They will only let you play certain things. So I think it was Crash Bandicoot. It's deluxe is $39.99. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that then. So I will literally, after this podcast, I will buy Elite Dangerous and load it up, and then I will start playing it if it's $39.99 for the deluxe edition. So yeah, I'm buying it. Give me about 3 o'clock, and I will be playing Elite Dangerous. So, and I'll activate my PSN, and then I will. I don't know. People can look me up. I'm Craig Harris 654, I believe. Just send me that thing. I will activate PSN. I have no idea what that means. But I also have Ghost Recon Wildlands. If somebody wants to get down on that too. I know J-Dub gets down on that Ghost Recon. So if he wants to throw down on it, let me know. But let me get back to what I'm saying. So Xbox, even though they've got an increase in software sales, which is good. I mean, it is good. It's nobody's buying the hardware. Now, could it be the conventional wisdom? What happened to One Stop? I don't know. I assume he's still podcasting. He did a podcast the other day. Shout out to One Stop. Yeah, if it wasn't for One Stop, and like I said, Bear Hugger 29, Bear Hugger was on last week, I would not be on YouTube. So I can tell you that right now. I would not be on YouTube. So shout out to both those guys. Love both those brothers to death. But let me get back to what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna have to look at the chat here periodically. I know, but the conventional wisdom about a hardware decrease to me means it's summertime, more people are outside, and less people are buying hardware. But then the Nintendo Switch wouldn't be doing what it's doing, and PlayStation, my goodness, great. When you look at the numbers. PlayStation this year has outsold Microsoft about 2-1 till we got to June. Now, what happened in June? Well, what happened in June is E3 happened, and Sony did have a sale. That gold PlayStation, which I didn't think anybody was going to buy, people bought that shit. I mean, people bought it. They sold out of it. So there's like what I think I saw the number of close to 400,000, and Microsoft was at 110,000. Okay, that does not bode well for your new console coming out, and let me try to explain why. And this is going to go into the whole Xbox commentary thing. But let me first report Uncharted Lost Legacy. That has gone gold. That is gold, okay? So that will be out on my birthday. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Anybody wants to buy me a birthday present? But I'm buying that game. I'm buying Hellblade. Life is Strange also is hitting. That's August 31st. I think they did push that back a week, but so it's August 31st. Lawbreakers. So there's a lot of shit coming out next month. We just got a couple weeks to wait, guys. Couple weeks. So, but my point to you all is Xbox is this could lead. I would be distressed if I'm a shareholder and I am a shareholder. My money went up at Microsoft because they're making something new, and Microsoft did beat first quarter earning projection. So that's really good. But the decrease in hardware, that's everything. That's consoles, that's people buying joysticks, that's headsets. That's hardware. That's not selling as much as they thought. So it is what it is. It's not good. Now, do I think Xbox X is going to be a failure? This is going on the Michael Pachter article. I disagree with him somewhat, and I agree with him somewhat. Let's keep it 100% here. $500 is a lot to ask. When you're going to ask a consumer for $500 for a platform, you need to have something to drive the platform. They're thinking that because they're going to have superior versions of multi-plat games, that that's going to drive the console sales, and it's not going to. And here's why: because there hasn't been a major multi-plat game been announced that's going to run or look better on that console. What they are claiming is, well, because it can, they should. And I'm telling them, just because they can doesn't mean that they should. They're going to always code to the common denominator, which is the PlayStation 4. So there's more PlayStation 4 on market to code for than there is anything else. So it's not that the mic, and look, if you prefer playing on the Xbox, I'm not knocking the Xbox. Okay. I just don't understand why you all have gotten to a point to where you believe that everybody is going to, meaning the I didn't understand that whole mentality. I do think it comes from, because I played on the 360 religiously. It's my favorite console, arguably, of all time. I can simply tell you that games like, even though they were multi-plat games, so like BioShock and Mass Effect and, you know, games like that, the Maddens, the Grand Theft Autos, every game I named is a multi-plat game. They all sold better on the Xbox system because those companies were more in line with Microsoft, and they still are. Madden with EA, Mass Effect flipped the script. They were more in line with you know, with PlayStation this generation, but the game was trash, so it kind of is a wash. Grand Theft Auto with Rockstar, even Red Dead Redemption was more like, even Red Dead Redemption is a multi-plat game, but you identify that game more with the 360 because that's where the marketing was. So I just think that people got to really understand it's not the power of PlayStation, it's the power of the purse. Sony launched both consoles, whether it be the Pro or the PlayStation 4. Both PlayStation 4s that have been launched at $399. That's just a fact. All right, that is just a fact. And I think that this is why a lot of the fanboys thought that they really wanted the console, the Xbox X, to be $399. That's why you saw a lot of podcasts there. And again, that was just speculation. It's not that somebody was horribly wrong. It's okay to speculate. But they really wanted it to be $399, and so many of them got upset when it was $499. Because at $499, something triggers in your psyche that says not no, but hell no. So I just think that they are really running out of excuses. Now they're saying that, well, we need to see a side-by-side comparison with the Xbox One X and the PlayStation Pro per Digital Foundry, which I don't care about Digital Foundry as far as, one, they don't break things down into layman terms. That's why when I always try to bring on J-Dub when they report something big. That's why I wanted to know about the load times and rendering things last week when they were talking about Forza and things like that. Because if I have an Xbox One S and I'm playing Forza Motorsports and say J-Dub is playing it on the Xbox X, are we going to have some kind of lag or thing rendering? Am I going to have pop-ups? That was my main concern. Yet I got, pretty much guys were like, I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to figure out if there's going to be some type of lag or something like that. So, I don't care because, it's just, that's important to me. And according to J-Dub, it's not going to make a difference. So that's cool. That's cool. So what's up, JD33? So once we get past all that, all they're left with is the side-by-side comparison. Well, let me tell you what Digital Foundry is going to say, more than likely. They're going to say, and this is if a native game, and there hasn't been a native game announced versus a checkerboarded game yet. But let's just say there is. Let's just, for instance, say there's some game that comes out and it's native on the Xbox and it's checkerboarded to the same buffer. Now, the native picture will always look better. It will always look better. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's 1080p native or 1440, it's going to be native, so it's going to look better. What Digital Foundry will say is they will say, yeah, it looks a little bit better on the Xbox, but when you're within 5 to 7 feet viewing distance, you can't see the difference. They've already proven that with Tomb Raider, the Rise of the Tomb Raider build. People picked the PC version. They were picking the Pro version. Some people picked the Xbox version as the PlayStation version. I mean, it's just people can't tell. And these were people who were back 5 feet. They were 5 feet. So, and so that's not a damage control statement. That's a reality of a test that Digital Foundry actually did. You can still look it up. So, and so that's going to lead me to I want to get also into this crackdown thing too, because I really want people to understand why there's pushback against crackdown. It's not what people are thinking. The pushback against crackdown was that the game was shown, and I don't know if you've seen the new screenshots of Crackdown, the final build of Crackdown, the one with Terry Crews in it. It looks stunning. You need to look at it in 4K. Remember, I reported to you all last week that more than likely the version that we were seeing being played at, well, I don't know, was it E3? Yeah, E3 wasn't the final build. That's just the build that they show. Now, Microsoft needs to be wrapped over the knuckles for that, because that's nobody's fault but Microsoft. They shouldn't have shown us anything until the final build. But that's what they did, and they deserve to be roasted for that shit. So, trying to get this to stop. There we go. But so I digress. But the pushback against it is that it was shown in 2014, and it looks like trash. And all people have been hearing, and this is if you're participating in the fanboy war, all people have been hearing for almost 3 years is that Crackdown is going to blow everything else away, so forth and so on, things like that. So, you know, it is what it, you know, and what I saw did not blow me away. I mean, I'm not saying it's not good. It looked like XCOM, because that's the shading that they use is the same they use on XCOM. It's the exact same shit. And I liked XCOM. So, I mean, I don't know why there was a problem, but that's it. Rise of the Tomb Raider is not native 4K on the Pro. It's checkerboarded. It's true 4K, okay? It's true 4K, which leads me to another thing that Microsoft did. See, when Sony delineated between checkerboarding 4K and upscaling 4K, it was called fake 4K. That's what it was called. When Microsoft, which is doing the exact same shit, and again, most of the games they've announced aren't native. They are not native 4K games. They are dynamic. They're going to be upscaled to 4K, which again is fine. But again, it's not native 4K. That's why you're seeing them do all these videos comparing Drive Club to Forza 7. I mean, they're literally comparing a game that came out during the open window launch. I don't know if it was 14 Drive Club came out, to a game coming out almost three and a half years later that's been optimized on a much higher frame scale. Literally, it's amazing. So what they're trying to do is, shout out to you, Savage Uber. I didn't see you in there, bro. What's happening? What they're trying to do is they're trying to sell the console to themselves. Okay, in which they don't need to sell it to anybody but them. They're trying to convince themselves to buy it. Okay. That's why there's all these videos of these comparisons and things like that. So it is what it is. I did hear somebody, and shout out to the guys on BGST, but when I hear people say dynamic 4K is just as good as checkerboarding, that's not true. Dynamic, you have the native 4K, which is as high as you can get. You got the checkerboarding, which is the mid-level. Then you got dynamic. Dynamic 4K works fine as long as there's no dynamic action on the game. Dynamic action. I mean, that's why I've said to people before, The Witcher 3 is a good example of that, because as long as you're just kind of walking around and nothing's happening, it's 1080p on the Xbox One. It is. Okay? It is not 1080p when your character gets into a fight, because it takes resources away from the screen and it gives it to the CPU to help boost the frame rate. That's the truth. Okay? That's the truth. So when that happens, it can cause a screen tear. That's why you have so much screen tear. You can really see it on the 60 hertz televisions. The 240 hertz television like I had, you could not see. Okay, I'm just keeping it a stack. You couldn't see it. Witcher was already optimized for both consoles. So if it's already 900p native on the Xbox One and it gets a Xbox enhanced patch, that means it will be over 1080p. Okay, anything over the base resolution, it is considered enhanced on the Xbox. It's the equivalent of boost mode on the PlayStation. That's why I said the last week, if we just consider all games by Microsoft's moniker of true 4K and enhanced mode, that would mean a game like Fallout and a game like Hitman. That would be enhanced on the PlayStation Pro, because that's hitting the 1440p buffer. 4K TV, your 4K TV will take that 1440p buffer and it will upscale it to 2160p. That's what I was trying to explain this to Widowmaker last week. So, so shout out to Widowmaker. He may have unsubbed too. So, but hey, shout out to everyone. Like I said, I hit 252 subs. I'm excited about that. So we have recovered from the Xbox guys jumping ship, if you want to call it that, because they were upset. Yeah, the Xbox One X, which does do 4K textures, which there's only been, all right, let's give them 2 games that have been announced. Let's say every first-party game gets 4K textures. That would be Ori and the Blind Forest. That would be, Ori and the Blind Forest, the Forza driving game. I see you, Jay. I appreciate it. And that would be, that would be Forza, Gears. And so there's 3 games. 3 games that have been, and I don't even know if Ori has been announced at it, but let's just say they get it. Let's say they get it. That's 3 games. What they're trying to convince me of is that those 3 games are going to make a goddamn bit of difference, and they don't. It doesn't make $100 difference, not to me. Let me make that clear. For me, what's up, Iron Wolf, the general of PlayStation? What's happening, brother? So what is happening? Shout out to Iron Wolf and J-Dub. You all go check out that Greatness podcast. They made me a mod, so big shout out to them. So they had a really good podcast. So and I listened to it. I came in there late. I kept dipping out because I was tired. But shout out to both them brothers, man. Y'all did a good job. Great job on that podcast. So yeah, you all go check that out. I think it's Wednesday night. Now who's a sellout, Spartan? So you got to explain. Can't be name calling and not explain yourself. So, but let's just say those 3 games come out and they have 4K textures. What you all have to ask yourself, if you're a consumer, this is what I asked myself. I take that back. Take that back. That's the wrong thing to say. Here's what I asked myself as a consumer is, will those 3 games make it worth buying at a $100 peak? My answer is no. Especially when the price of that console is going to come down. Now, I'm not saying the Xbox X is going to be a failure. I think it's too early. The difference in what Sony is doing is Sony wants their PS5 to hit the market anytime, Wolf, anytime. Sony wants their PS5 to hit that market when the market is at 35% of people who own 4K TVs. Right now, we're at 16%. Because you got some people say we're at 14. You got some people say we're at 18 to 20. So let's just call it 16 because that comes right down in the middle. 16%. 16% is not enough. That's 1 out of 5. And that's roughly where the Pro is in market rate adoption. So the Pro is doing exactly what the market is dictating. Now, is it driving people to go out and buy 4K TVs? No. It's not. So no, so when November hits, Microsoft will get an advantage as far as 4K TVs coming down. Because I'm hearing people say, well, why buy a 1080p TV? All right, if the Xbox X is going to make all games look and run better on a 1080p TV, that's why you buy it. Okay? If that's what you want, you're still getting a superior version of the game. You're getting your Xbox, and you're getting a 1080p TV, which you may be able to find a 240 hertz 4K TV for, I don't know, you may be able to find one for $399 in November. I mean, a good one. So, and you know, a lot of these games don't have HDR on them, like Destiny 2. People are like, am I going to play that demo? No, it doesn't have HDR on it. I said that back when. I don't care that it's 30 FPS because that's what a console should aim for. But that's my opinion. But, you know, no HDR, that's unacceptable. You know, that to me is fighting words. You at least give me HDR. Now, they may patch that in after launch. Who knows? But we just have to wait and see. So, yeah, Corey Massey, it is a return to form. I don't disagree. And it's not that they didn't recover last generation. A lot of people got to realize that they ultimately, the PS3 sold more than the Xbox 360 last gen. But again, I truly believe now, I understand it, because I thought, why in the world do people believe that, you know, and it's just like I say about movies, you can't believe it until the studio tells you. I mean, don't believe CD Projekt Red is going to give Witcher 3 a 4K native game on the Xbox X until CD Projekt Red comes out and announces it. Okay? That's why we call them Jack Reacher, because you all can sign up at the CD Projekt Red website like I am for their newsletter. It's free, and you can get an update on Witcher. Okay, and I'm not saying it won't be 4K native. I'm just simply saying that don't let people tell you that it's going to be without some type of documentation that it is going to be. Even if it's just a rumor, you can say, well, that's a rumor, but still. It's just like the Sony guy who's out saying that they're going to announce the PlayStation 5 in 2018. Even though that guy is connected to Sony, I don't believe that's true. Now, the part of the rumor I do think is true is Robotech Sony having a exclusive Robotech game on the PlayStation. Now, you're going to say, Craig, well, why do you believe that part and you don't believe the other part? Because I know when I reported to you all that Robotech got greenlit for a movie by Sony, doesn't it make, you can delineate based on deductive reasoning that Sony will have a game come out for it. There's a Spider-Man game, so there will be a Robotech game. They will probably put out Robotech toys because they did sign a deal with Hasbro as well. And this is where my comic book blood kind of comes in, because this is how you delineate how things are going to be in comic book land. You look at the connective tissue, and then you can come up with, you're still making a prediction, but at least you're making a prediction based on deductive reasoning and not fucking bullshit like Jack Reacher has been doing. So, and that's what I'm asking you guys to do. So the PlayStation 5 rumor that is out, that this hit like a few hours ago, is that they're going to announce it in 2018 and come out in 2019. I don't believe that. Hold on. Let me take a swig. Now, I don't believe that. I do believe that they're going to have a Robotech game because Sony announced a Robotech movie. That makes sense. So I don't know why. I don't know why people get caught up in it. You all, that's what I've said to you guys. It's easy, and I understand. Trust me. You see somebody being a Jack Reacher, you want to go in and smack them in their face. But ultimately, the way you get them back is you put down exactly what's going on, and you keep it moving. You just step out. You're done. Okay? You're done. Hey, look, you want to say 4K textures on the Xbox One X? Okay, you better come up with a list of games that has been announced, not that you think that's going to be, that's been announced that has 4K textures, and you leave a question mark. That's it. And that automatically puts them on the defensive. Either they will question your comment, And like I said, what Savage Uber did to that one guy in that chat room, that was brutal. What he did in the comment section to that guy. He wasn't disrespectful. He didn't cuss him or anything like that. He said, here's my proof. Where's yours? And the guy didn't say nothing. He didn't say, swig of what? That is a holy rum swig, buddy. Actually, that's lemonade. I actually got to go get some more because it is effing hot outside. And probably by the time I get back, Elite Dangerous will be downloaded. And I got to, oh, God, I got to activate PSN and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to do all that today. I'll do all that today. Ugh. But nevertheless, I'll do it. So just don't try to get yourself caught up in that. So as far as Destiny 2 is concerned, I know it's a free beta. So I will probably be hamming it up. I will probably do it if it's a free beta. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how much of it we get. I know the beta from Destiny 1. I didn't like that because right when I started to try to understand the way they wanted me to play the game, it put me into something called a crucible and I couldn't go. It was dumb. I was just running around and shooting people. So, but I look, if people that are enjoying Destiny 2, is anybody playing Destiny 2 now on the beta in the chat that was not going to buy Destiny 2 that is now going to buy Destiny 2? Does the beta change anybody's mind? So, I mean, that's my question to you all. So, yeah, and Iron Wolf saying it's fake outcry from over losing NPD. That's, yeah, where's your, Iron Wolf's right. That's a great point. Where's your righteous indignation and outcry when you ain't got no goddamn games? I mean, that's why you're losing, because that's why you're losing NPD. You ain't got no games. You know, so, I mean, and people will say, well, yeah, we got games. No, you don't have no games. Trust me, you don't. I mean, you've got Voodoo Vince. I mean, come on, it's Voodoo Vince. Okay. You've had Phantom Dust, which was trash. I mean, I don't know what happened with that. And then there's been Halo Wars 2. I know Halo Wars 2 got DLC, just got announced. And they stopped making Halo Wars 2. They're no longer printing the game anymore. So, I mean, that's bad, man. I mean, so everything is pushing towards the Xbox One X, and now you're hearing more. You're hearing more desperation in their voices. You know, as I said, side-by-side comparison. You're hearing, shout out to Next Gen 720, Microsoft needs to be the beast that they are. Let me tell you why this statement is intellectually dishonest. It's because Microsoft is a beast, okay? Xbox is a division of Microsoft that makes, get this, guys, 16% to 18% of Microsoft's money. Therefore, and again, Xbox is a division of Microsoft, but these guys think Microsoft is a division of Xbox. They get a budget. Xbox gets a budget, and that's it. Like every other corporate part of Microsoft, most of their budget is delineated towards the Windows people. So, I mean, again, that's why you're hearing, oh, once they get DX12 and all this stuff, everybody already knows that these games can have DX. They got DX12. They've got 6 T-flops of RAM or whatever, 6 T-flops and 12 gigs of RAM and all this kind of stuff. But they're still the lowest common denominator. They don't have any consoles out. They have not one console, and they think all these people are going to go out and buy that console. That's why I always go back to when Porter Rock, shout out to him, when he was on the Multiplayer podcast and T Reaper asked him, the first question he asked him, and again, the first question is the most important question, is did you see enough to make a change? Because that's what they were anticipating, was Xbox X was going to be this groundbreaking. I'm talking about the fanboys, not guys like Randall Thor and Muscle Bound Gamer and PTK Blam. Those cats, they understood what this thing was going to be, you know. But other cats who thought, hey, look, this thing was going to be a system changing, diaper changing, whatever you want to call it, console, and it's not going to be that. Now, 2 to 3 years from now, when they have more games out on market, when they have more games to show us, to get us excited about the console, then it makes sense for everybody, for me for me to check you out in 2 to 3 years. And at that point, the console will be a lot cheaper. You have to figure it comes out in 17. It's not going to drop price in 17. It will drop price. I'm going to predict it's going to drop price at E3 next year. You will get a price drop in the Xbox X. And I think it goes from $499 for E3, that those 3 to 5 days E3 is, it will go from $499 to, I'm going to say, $429. I think they'll knock off about 8% to 10%. So, of that, maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna say $429.99 by next E3. That's when, because think about it, they'll have more games to show. It will be out on market. People will get hands-on. And then now at E3, you can actually show exclusive content coming out for it. And they can't do these day-and-day releases with the PC, because if you have a mid-level PC, you can run all Xbox games at 1080p, open frame, with high settings. That's really good. So, and you only have to spend like $400. Like I said, you can buy the AMD chip. I think it's a 480 or 480. It's something like that. That does 4K 30, which means you can do 1440p 60. Okay, you can do 4K 30. You can do 1440 60. You can get a 1440p monitor for about $300, and then you put everything all together. It's going to cost you about $600. That's the price of what you're going to pay for one console and possibly one game. This is if you get like a Game of the Year edition or something like that. So I just do not. But I just did not get why cats thought there was going to be a change. But when I think about my 360 days, and I think about the games that, even though they were multi-plat, it felt. Let me get to that. So I'm not talking about Gears of War and Halo and stuff like that. I'm talking about games like the Call of Duties, the Mass Effect, games that were multi-plat games. It still felt like those games were first-party games. So that's what I'm seeing now. You can hear it in their voices. How come Microsoft isn't advertising? Well, the reason why Microsoft isn't advertising is because they can't. You can't sell something that's not been approved by the FCC yet. So you can't. There's nothing to advertise. You got no product right now. They may have to change the name of the product. They probably won't, but they are taking their sweet ass time. I know that we're about to be August. So we're about 100 days from launch. August, September, October, no. Yeah, we're a little over 100 days from launch of their console, and they don't have any advertising out yet. So I'm hearing, like I said on BGST, I'm hearing guys say, how come they aren't shouting out to the top of the world, or, off the top of their lungs, that Wolfenstein is going to be 4K 60 on the Xbox X? The reason why they're not, here's your answer. The reason why they're not going to do that is because it's not a Microsoft first-party game. So there's nothing to advertise. What are they going to say? Honestly, if you were marketing Wolfenstein for Microsoft, what would you say? Here's another game that you can go buy on PC. Here's another game you can go play on the PlayStation. How does that help your brand when I can go buy it out of another ecosystem? If you want to say, well, it's going to be 4K, well, it's not. It hasn't been announced if it's going to be dynamic, native, or checkerboard. That's not been announced yet by Bethesda. So we need to wait and see what Bethesda gives us. What they say. Because look, I'll be the first to report whatever it is. I'll be like, hey, look, it is going to be this, according to Bethesda. Okay, not according to VentureBeat, not according to Google, not according to Windows Central, but Bethesda. Okay, so and that's the way you get your news. That's how I get my news. That's how I get my movie news. So that's just a reality of our situation. So yeah, Wolfenstein was confirmed to be 4K. Let me pull that up here for you. Now they didn't confirm native or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure they did confirm it was going to be let Let me see if I can pull it up here. About it. So, but I've got like all these windows pulled up here. So let me Google friend or Bing. My computer defaults to Google, but you know, all right, it's now. Am I at Bing? Yeah. Yeah, well, that just came up. Something about ExxonMobil getting sued. Okay. Einstein. Is it the new order? Is that what it's called? What's it called? Okay. New Colossus. I'll put Wolfenstein 4K. Pops up here. Let's see here. Wolfenstein 2 and Evil Within will support 4K on Xbox One. This is from Engadget. I did report this, 4 days ago. Here, I will put the link. So, or you can call it True 4K right now because it's for the Xbox. They have not put build is going to be, but is. So, but nevertheless, the reason why they're not, the reason why they, mean Microsoft, can't come out and say Wolfenstein is 4K on our system, one, because they don't have FCC clearance about their console, and number two, it doesn't do any good to market a game that's going to be out on everybody's system. And to you guys, it's what's the point on doing that? So, you know, that's what you guys have got to ask yourselves. This is not a Craig Harris question. This is for you guys. What would you do if you were in charge of marketing and you got the game you got that's exclusive that you've seen the most is Forza, and we've seen that the most. That's an exclusive game, okay? That's the only game that's going to be out right now that's been announced. Let me make this clear. It's going to have the 4K textures. Had the 4K textures. So when Michael, let me get back to something Michael Pachter said. Michael Pachter said you can get an Xbox One S and a PS4 right now if you work the market. Let me make this clear. There's a pawn shop here in town that has an Xbox One S for $175, and it has a PS4, I think for $190. So you can, in theory, walk in there with $300 or $320 and get both those consoles for $320. I got $320. Can you get me a PS4 and a Xbox thing? That may be 500 gigs, but think about it. You're walking out with $300. You can get all the games. You can get, I don't know, a bunch of damn games. Plus, if you want extra hard drive space, you can get one off of wherever, eBay or Amazon for like $40. So I'm just saying that I don't get. I can't say I don't get. I used to not get why these cats were saying that that these games are going to all do this, and but the reason why is because when I think about, and everybody here I think had a 360, we got first party treatment from third party developers. That's the truth. Okay, that's the truth. So it's not like the original OG Xbox where you had to play Splinter Cell, you had to have an OG Xbox. In order to play Knights of the Old Republic, you had to have an OG Xbox. Now, Knights of the Old Republic is on PC. Splinter Cell is on PC. You know, and so again, I'm not, you know, they're not giving me as a consumer a reason to buy their console. So these cats are hung up. You can hear it in their voices. They're getting desperate when we need side-by-side comparisons. Here's the side-by-side comparison that matters the most. $399, $499. That's it. That's your side-by-side comparison. I mean, honestly, what the fuck else matters at this point? Okay? So now that you already lost that argument. So you're going to come back with 4K textures. Okay, fine. 4K textures. Let's go there. One game has been announced that has 4K textures. That's the truth. That's not fanboying. That's not me bashing the console. If you're going to buy the console, buy the console. Like I said, if the console came out at $399, I would have to really consider getting rid of my Xbox One S to get it, because at that point I could probably walk in there and walk out at about $279, give or take, you know. So that's a good deal for me. But like I said, I'm a man of limited means but unlimited heart. So that's going to be my catch moniker for the Porch Light podcast. Let me know what you all think about it. Limited means but unlimited heart. So the Porch Light podcast by Craig Harris. Yeah, that's it. That's my moniker, just so you know. But so do I think the Xbox One X is going to be a failure? Absolutely not. I just think it's too soon to know. So maybe there's some early projections and it's not a lot of heat on it. But I think once they start advertising it, and you may get something at Gamescom next month. But next month is dwarfed by releases of the games that I just told you. Now, I'm not saying not to be excited about Gamescom, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. So, yeah, you would market hold on. If I was in charge for marketing, I would market 6 T-flops beast. Yeah, they did that, and there's nobody talking about it right now. So, you know, people started like Next Gen. Shout out to him. When they saw that console launch, when it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, they actually, those little stupid emblems, they took those out of their name because they felt stupid. Again, they thought they were going to get something groundbreaking that was going to be on the level of the 1080p, 720p. They did not understand how 4K buffers work. I still don't think they do. So and because once it hits the 4K buffer, it's now in 4K. That's according to Microsoft. That's what true 4K is. So, but yeah, am I going to buy Wolfenstein? Probably, because I've been buying Wolfenstein since Commodore 64 day. So I had that on Commodore 64. So yeah, 99. I still don't know what a T-flop does. I know what a T-flop is, but I don't understand how it works in comparison to what, you know. So I mean, I do understand, like Kratos put it in layman terms. Think of the CPU as the brain, and it's going to tell the GPU where to put stuff. And I think Savage Uger said that too. So that makes sense. So I guess if the more it can compute, the better. Yeah, I mean, look, the 4 things that the Xbox One X does that's been announced, that has been announced, is that it does 4K textures, it does UHD Blu-ray, which the Xbox One S does that. It does, it can record in 4K, fine, HDR, high, fine. And there was one more thing that it does do, and I can't remember, but it was 4 things that it did do. And what people got to decide is, okay, is that worth $25 per each one? Or if it's 3 things, $33. I mean, that's what you guys have got to decide. Is that ecosystem worth it? Or do you all want to wait till they announce more games with 4K textures on them? That's my question. I'm just going to wait. That's what I'm doing. I understand people. Now, it's like I said, if I wake up one morning and somebody has decided, hey, I'm going to send you one, of course I'll accept it. But I can't with not knowing that there's not a whole lot there for me. For me. So it was Crash Bandicoot I was talking about. I think I said Ratchet and Clank earlier, and I think I meant I subbed that with Crash Bandicoot, okay? Sub that with Crash Bandicoot. So also Star Wars Battlefront 2 is getting an enhanced PlayStation or an enhanced Xbox X mode. But again, remember the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 was 792p on the Xbox. It was 720p. So since it was 720p, if it's enhanced, that means it's going to be over 1080p. It may be 1440p, which is enhanced, and that's enhanced, okay? So it may be 1600p, that's enhanced. So just you all got to keep that in mind. So doesn't Sony and Samsung have the patent on Blu-ray players? They don't have the patent. Sony does have a diode patent, but not the entire thing. So, but 4K Blu-ray is Samsung, Sony, LG, Panasonic. There's like a cabal of people. So Ryan Landis said the only reason power was a selling point was, yeah, I agree with you. And to me, that was the selling point. I didn't know it was more powerful until like 3 months after I had it. More power to me was walking out of the store with an extra game. You know, I paid $3.99, and I forgot the first game I bought. Maybe it was Killzone, which I didn't like. It was trash. I was ran around in a circle. It looked good though. But they called that game the Halo Killer instead of just letting the game come out. But yeah, to me, the people are like side-by-side comparison. Here's the only side, like I said, here's the only side-by-side comparison that counts. $3.99, $4.99. That's it, side by side. What are you going to do? You know, so it's like a movie. I was watching this movie the other day. We were watching this movie called Congo. It was an old movie. What was the one plane? They were flying out somewhere, and something happened to the plane, and the one guy was like, "Well, I don't want to jump out of the plane," and so the guy said, "Okay, well, can you fly the plane?" And the guy said, "No," and he said, "Well, the pilot and co-pilot have already jumped out, so what do you want to do?" So he ended up having a parachute out of the plane. So I mean, $3.99, $4.99. What do you think most people are going to buy if all things are equal and there's minimum differences in the game? Now, to the hardcore person, 4K textures, UHD movies, 4K Blu-ray playback, and Dolby Atmos. Those four things are going to come standard on the Xbox X. You need to now ask yourself, is that worth the extra $100? Or you can get an Xbox One S with 5.1 sound. It still plays the Blu-ray movies, and you have the same ecosystem of game. So if I were to buy an Xbox One X and you have the Xbox One S, we're going to still be able to play the same games. Okay? I have a 4K TV, so mine would look better. Okay? And I would have better sound if I had Dolby Atmos, but most people don't have fucking Dolby Atmos. I mean, most people have 5.1. Most. Now, there's some people, like when you get the headsets, shout out to Mark Camacho again, you got 7.1 sound. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm playing that Ghost Recon. And like I said, at nighttime, you can hear the friggin' frogs by the river or whatever those things are chirping, and crickets. And when you go through the woods, you can hear the birds. I mean, you can. I'm not here to say that it ain't good, but is that worth the extra money? That is a consumer question. Only you all get the answer. So, people direct messaging me about what they should do. And it's like, it's not my money. I'm not in your pocket. So do what you want to do. Just understand what you're buying. And if you early adopt, you may not have a whole lot authentically on that system yet. You're adopting early so that you understand 2 to 3 years from now, you're going to have more content. Or you can wait for the content and buy cheaper. It works either way. Okay, it works either way. So this depends on what you are as a consumer, I mean. So, but what originally killed the Xbox One was that many people were aware that you had to. Yeah, well, again, Andrew, remember, that's what Microsoft said. Microsoft says you had to have the Kinect camera. So that was a lie. That was not true. So, and then you had Cat say, when I disconnected the Kinect camera, I got better graphics. This is when the lying started. I mean, this is when I remember Cat started to post that stuff. And then I go back to my last podcast when I said the first game I remember when the whole stuff started is with Witcher 3. Okay, when that game was shown on the Microsoft system, it got out that they showed it on PC. And so people were mad at Microsoft. That got exposed. And of course, I mean, the whole thing with with Watch Dogs. You all know that already. The whole problem with Watch Dogs. So, you know, it is what it is, you know. So you think the PS4 can get 4K textures as the GT 1060 can with six? Okay, that's way above my head. So, the Division is 4K native, really? Okay, cool. I did not know that. So, hell, I may go back once I get my PSN activated. All these games that you play online, I may go ahead and start playing that shit again. I did not know that had 4K textures though. You did, if you can, Savage, go ahead and leave a link in the description. That's cool though. I mean, I had no idea, you know. So I guess it can do 4K textures. So again, I'm this, you know, if Savage is right, it can do 4K textures. I didn't know. So that's one, you got to take that off the list. Now, is it 4K textures? Is it medium settings or high settings? Because that's what I'm confused at. If you have 4K textures, are you already at a high setting? Or is there 4K texture, low, medium, high, ultra setting? That's a question for me. I don't know if anybody can answer that. So the Pro can do anything that you said. Really? I mean, again, I'm not here to say that's not true, Spartan, but leave a link in the description or in the chat. So yeah, Andrew saying people like him bought multiple $300 headsets. This GS phone is not. Yeah, you're right. The Xbox One S and Xbox, they have 5.1 sound. That is true. But again, most people with home theater systems have 5.1. Most people have 5.1, so doesn't it make sense that Microsoft targeted to match that system? You see what I'm saying? Because one of the things you're going to say is, hey, if I hook this to my Dolby Surround at 5.1, will I still get the same quality that I got right now? And your answer is yes. And that's a selling point. So yeah, Sony went with 7.1, but I would expect Sony to, because they are a hardware company and they make 7.1 speakers. So of course they're going, and again, the 7.1, the mids in there and the highs on that sound are phenomenal. The mids is what separates it, not the highs though. The mids separate you from the 5.1. So you have to have to connect. You had to have internet on. Yeah, you're right. Now, again, they did switch that, but you're right. It was too late. What I remember was the look on Jeff Keighley's face when he asked Don Matrick about the that whole mess. The look, you all can pull that up on YouTube. Just look at his face. His look of face was that, you bastard, you arrogant bastard. Just look at Jeff's face. Don't look at Don Matrick's face. Look at Jeff's face. Because Jeff was representative of us, the consumer, us, the gamer. And then that same day, Sony announced their console being at $399. If you want to see how not to market something, watch E3 2013. We're going to actually, I'll announce this now. We're actually looking to do a documentary on that E3 and what happened. We want to do a documentary on it. So, and maybe sell it to Netflix. We're actually actively looking for people to support that. So yeah, we're just, yeah, they should have made the S, it's too close to X when it comes to movies. Well, it's the same thing. The Xbox X, though, is going to have better sound, Anthony. Let's try to remember that. So let's see. You don't think power sold PS4? Again, I agree with you, Corey, but where people in the Xbox community, they think that's the difference. They don't care about the price. They don't care about the ecosystem. They care about, it's always been about power. Sony guys made it about power. How many times did Widowmaker say that? Cycle Gamers say that. Okay? And that's what they think. I mean, that's not a diss on either one of them. They are telling you, Halo Storm even said that. That's where they are. Remember we asked Halo Storm, why didn't the Xbox community support its first-party IP? And he said it's partly Sony's fault. Now, I don't know how Sony has anything to do with you going out as a grown-ass man and buying your first-party IP. So that's my whole point. Okay, you feel me on that? So, no, I didn't know. Oh, Savage Uger, yeah, let me check this article out. Now, is this coming from a reputable source or just some jabroni that's talking his ass off? Oh, yeah, the Division 4K. So, well, shit, I may go out and buy this. I literally may have to go out and buy that shit then. So, yeah. Wow, I did not know that. Jesus, that's great. You know, I will have to say I am color me impressed. So color me impressed. That really did throw me for a loop. But understand that when you're talking to them, that when you had the 360, you got first party treatment at the third party level. You may not have realized it, but because I knew they were multi-plat games, but again, all those games were lined up with Sony's console. Okay, they all lined themselves up with Sony's console. So, but I do agree, 99% of the world doesn't know what a T-flop is. So I still understand that. So, yeah. Yeah, so Corey Massey saying as long as Wolfenstein runs 60 FPS. Well, ask yourself what the last Wolfenstein ran on the PlayStation. Did the last one run 30 or 60? So, and if it ran 60 the last time, then in theory, it should still run 60. But I'm not going to say it's going to definitely run that because I don't have anything announced from Bethesda. So yeah. Medium settings. So, okay. I mean, again, that was my question. So the broken anything, the problem is the CPU. Well, then either it can or it can't do everything that the GTX 1060 can do. So you see what I'm saying? I mean, that's no dig on you, Spartan. Are you talking about the GTX GPU side? That's a GPU, right? The GTX, that's an NVIDIA card, right? That's a graphics card. Yes, I'm starting to learn. Yeah. I'm getting dangerous. It's like a baby learning how to walk. I agree with Ryan. $100 cheaper has an awful lot of sway when you got a woman that lives with you. You try to go up to your woman and say, hey, look, I can get the same thing $100 cheaper and see how fast you're going to be getting the one that's $100 cheaper, or you're going to find out how comfortable or uncomfortable your goddamn couch is. So 4K textures are ultra settings on textures with the Division. Everything else is medium to high. Okay, now I'm confused. All right, so the textures are 4K ultra. Now this is on the PlayStation. Everything else is mid to high settings. All right, well that's cool. I mean that's great. So yeah, power and price so PS4. I don't disagree with that. That and flat out apathy of the hubris of Microsoft. I mean, I bought a PlayStation. Look, when I left my house in 2014, I had $600, and I had just reconciled myself to just go ahead and buy an Xbox. I was going to buy it. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it, you know. And then when I got to Toys R Us, I saw they had a PlayStation in there, and I'm like, all right, well, let me walk, because I can physically walk to GameStop. I got the GameStop, and they had them there, and they had a trade-in program. So I traded in my 360 and got the PlayStation. I got my PlayStation for $239.99. So also is the PS Pro checkerboard different? Yes, it is. Checkerboard rendering is done based on geometry. One is geometry, and the other one is sparse. I think is geometric, and I forgot checkerboard is based on something totally different. But I did do a podcast on that if you all want to go back and listen to it. So checkerboarding is more accurate than sparse rendering. I can tell you that much. So, but there's nothing wrong with sparse rendering. Who won NPD this month? Sony won in a landslide. Ultimately, the gamers won, but Sony won in a landslide, and the The fighting games won as well. I mean, Tekken and then that DC fighting game really smoked everybody. Shout out Horizon Zero Dawn is back in the top 10, top 15. And a couple other games were. Crash Bandicoot. I want to say Ratchet and Clank. Crash Bandicoot, I believe, is the top-selling PlayStation game. I believe. So NX Gamer is a PC engineer, and he's been doing tech. Oh, okay, fine, yeah. Well, then shout out to NX Gamer then. I did not know that. So Xbox lost. Yeah, Fall of Duty said Xbox lost dead last. Well, but my whole thing is that number is 3-1 now. Damn near 4-1. That is scary. I mean, why is that console slowing down? That's my question. Shout out to Porter Rock because he asked the same question. So, and why is nobody buying the Xbox One S? The conventional wisdom does say everybody's waiting on the new console. Okay, if you're going to roll with that, then why are the other consoles still selling well? That should affect everybody. So, that's just the way it is. So that's my question for you guys. So, yeah, people are smart. Yeah. Pro has something called an ID buffer in terms. This is totally new. Unique method of identifying the edges of objects and tracking those. Okay, I did not know that. Here I've been thinking an ID buffer is my name. So thank you for that. So you don't think Xbox X does that? Well, if they can push out native textures, they won't have to. You see what I'm saying? There's a native texture. So, Xbox lost last night. Yeah, I mean, they lost bad. So, I mean, it's really, I mean, like Iron Wolf said, I don't know why they're upset. Why don't they get this upset about not having no games? So Sony 3D audio is so realistic that I heard noise that. Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, there's different ways around the Dolby Atmos. I mean, I'm not here to say that Dolby Atmos isn't. That's real good. That's real good. So, I mean, I was just literally trying to point out, if you're a consumer, is that going to be enough to move your wallet? I mean, that's all I'm saying. If you're a casual consumer, so, it is what it is. So, yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn was in the top 10 again. And I know somebody that bought that game. Like I said, they called me the other day and said that they were stunned by how good the game is. So, I mean, that's his words, stunned. So, and he has a 1080p TV, blah, blah, blah. He don't have all this. He ain't into all this. So he's just amazed by how the game looked. So, thought somebody was knocking on your door. It was the audio headset. Yeah, that's pretty damn good sound. So, and again, we track sound in 4 dimensions. So that's how your brain gives you a picture. So, yeah, it's in every PS4. Wow, didn't know that. I mean, again, I see you guys are we're known as informed consumers, because you all are saying things in the chat that most people don't know. But see, you guys have gone out, you've informed yourself. That makes you the most powerful type of consumer in the United States, because you're not going to fall for the okie doke. You're going to make that guy, when they trying to okie doke you, because when you go to Best Buy, I be sending those people to go get help, because I be asking them questions that they can't answer. It's not that they're stupid. It's just that I'm going to ask them those skewed questions. And again, don't ask questions you don't know the answers to. And Best Buy, you get the best answers because those guys don't get paid to lie to you like they would at Circuit City or H.H. Gregg and places like that. So, so Sony 3D headsets have better sound. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, and they should. And I'm sure they cost a heavy penny, too. Microsoft needs new IP. I agree they need some new IP out. And they are really dependent on backwards compatibility at this point. So, and shout out to Jimmy B Gaming, because he did say that the Xbox X was going to count more on what? Third-party support. So, yeah. It did. You think it looked better, Spartan? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and I don't know if that number is true about that, keeping it real. 17 million. I don't know if that's a United States number, because I thought worldwide they were about at 36 million. So I got to consider that. So I think maybe in the United States they're only at 17. So, but that's if that's true. Yeah, smart and for Vega Tech. Oh, okay. All right. Well, but again, Savage, yeah. But now with the ID buffer, if you have a 4K native pictures, doesn't that kind of champion or trump the ID buffer? I mean, I'm just asking. So, yeah. That's a lot. Xbox One. Yeah, I mean, I thought they were. What's up, Wolfie? Yeah, I mean, I thought the Xbox was at 34 million to 36 million, but that may be worldwide, Spartan. The 17 million number may be a US number. I mean, that's because NPD only tracks United States. So I'm thinking worldwide they're at 30, because I think I think Sony in the United States is probably at about 39 million in the United States. So, you know, and I think the rest of them have come from around the world. About the other, whatever, 26 million or whatever that would be, that's worldwide. So the one says, but somebody did what now? Oh, you just bought a Switch? Cool. Did you get what did you get any games with it? Wolfflow? Shout out to Wolfflow. He just got that Switch. Oh my God, that means he bought it for exclusive games. So, you know, do you see what I'm saying? Now exclusives do matter. So here's a guy who just bought a Switch. So, you know, let me see that there. Dream stated recently that they're worldwide. I mean, that's for Zelda. Yeah. Oh yeah. See, you had to buy the Switch for the Zelda. So yeah, I got you, bro. So now that guy, Andrew, is that worldwide? I mean, I'm serious. So, I mean, I thought worldwide they were at 34 to 36 million. I mean, if they're only at 26 million, that's bad. That's all I'm saying. That's the only exclusives. Yeah, I get that, bro. Yeah, but remember, Phil Spencer said exclusives don't matter, Wolfie. So, you know, but again, I don't get. And a guy, shout out to Randall Thor, because when he did his review on the PlayStation, and he was talking about the UI and stuff like that, and how simple their UI is, because you didn't buy the PlayStation to look at the damn UI, you bought it to play games. You know, so now I like the Xbox UI as far as the way it looks. But I like the busyness of the screen. But the PlayStation, I understand. I am buying the PlayStation to play games. It's a gaming console first. It's not a multimedia center first. So although I'm going to use mine to download that game. So, I mean, that's amazing if it's at 26 million. That's all I can say. And I'm not saying that it is. I am just saying if it's at 26 million, that's a goddamn shame. So, I mean, that is a damn shame. So I don't know what else to say. But as far as the hate around, like I said, around Crackdown as well, you got to really understand that it's because, and they shouldn't be doing it, you know, they shouldn't be doing it, but it's because everybody got told that Crackdown was going to be the second coming and things like that. So, you know, yeah, I agree, Wolfie. Now, Wolfflow, you know that underperforms, though, right? Well, actually, Wolfflow's right. If they're at 50 million, that's roughly, well, no, hold on, Spartan. He's right. They're at 50 million because the number that we got with Microsoft with the 360 is skewed because they counted the red ring of death. When we replaced those, Microsoft counted that as new sales. That's how they got that's why they were able to go ahead and kind of wipe the slate clean. And they wrote it off as a tax write-off, as a business expense, because they counted it as a new sale. That's how they got. So with the red ring of death, they're at 90-something million. By the end of this gen, 50 million, I think, is a good projection. Yeah, Roof was right. Yeah, the red ring, you got to minus the whatever Microsoft sold on 360, minus 32 to 35 million because of the red ring of death. So, yeah, I have an S. It's solid. It's in the bedroom now because we got Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and we're going to watch that in UHD tomorrow night when I come home. So, Oh, shout out to Weapon Wheel, to Jack Boo, Johnny, and Hard 8 for Hard 8 announcing. They both announced yesterday that the beef is whatever was going on over there. It's over with. Everything's cool. So big shout out to them. So brother's gonna work it out. So shout out to both those guys. So, well, 50 million, Spartan. Understand it. 50 million is the actual amount that they sold minus the red ring of death. That you're counting the red ring of death sales too. Take those out. You're at about 50 to 56 million on that Xbox 360. So that's the right number. That is the right number for them. So, and I'm going to say it'll probably be a little bit higher than that because they don't count the ones well, they do. They actually do count the ones sold at pawn shops. I take that back. So, yeah, you're right. Ryan is right. I had 3 consoles. I had 3 Xbox consoles. When they announced that one at E3, that black one, the slim Xbox, I bought that one. That they announced that on Monday. On Thursday, that thing was in Best Buy. I bought it Thursday. About 71 million without the red ring of death. Well, then if they're at 50 million, then that's underperforming. If 50 million, though, is still 50 million more of anything I have sold. So I can't deny that. It's not bad. What's flows bright? It's not bad, but it's not terrible either. So terrible, 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 as Charles Barkley would say. So the Switch won't catch up before Xbox 2. Yeah, probably won't. I don't think they need to. But yeah, so let me wrap it up again with the with the Comic-Con news again. That Ben Affleck is possibly out. It's been reported by Hollywood Reporter. Ben Affleck is out as Batman. He's trying to find a graceful way out. He wrote the movie, and I don't know what's happening. I think Joss Whedon is going to do Batgirl. There's a lot of trailers out, guys. The Defender trailer looking good. You all should check it out. I'll report a little more on it tonight because the big stuff is about to start happening here in about another half hour. That's why I'm wrapping up. So plus I'm going to go throw some money in the bank, and then I'm going to go ahead and get this Elite Dangerous going. So, but you all just, everybody try to understand what you're dealing with, because I didn't know, and I did a bad job on really trying to find out, and I was being argumentative. But I understand now what they thought was going to happen was they were going to get, again, I've said this, but it didn't really dawn on me. You can say something, but kind of be like, half-assed, like it's not true. But realistically, what happened was you had cats who believed that by going ahead and, because again, BioShock and Mass Effect and these games that were third-party games, Call of Duty, these were third-party games last generation, and we got them and we took it as first-party IP because we had the marketing deals with the 360, we had DLC with the 360 first, and it was like having a first, even though it was third-party content, it was like we were getting first-party treatment. It was like, it's like going to the movie theater when you paid for a ticket that's you pay for a matinee ticket and then you go to the later showing. I mean, I've done that 1,000 times. It's not like they really look at your ticket time. They look at, especially when there's a ton of people in line. That's how you do it. But yeah, and again, it's not awful. So, Scalebound and Fable could have built the brand up. Yeah, look, I was so upset when Scalebound canceled, and then Phil Spencer said, "Oh, well, it's a good thing." And I just think that's hubris. That's the height of arrogance. So I mean, again, but that's who they are. That's who Microsoft is, and people got to accept that. It's like having a girlfriend that cheats on you and you stay with her. Okay, she's always going to be a cheater. You got to make a decision on if you're going to stay with her or not. And these cats, even though Microsoft is guilty of hubris and they're guilty of lying, and stretching the truth, guys have still decided, okay, we're still going to stay with them. Not that Sony is perfect, but Sony made less mistakes this gen than Microsoft did. And to the victors go the spoils, and they are the victors, and people just need to accept it and keep it moving. Just keep it moving. So that's about it, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, Uncharted Lost Legacy has gone gold. Comes out August 22nd. Life is Strange got pushed back August 31st now. I wanted to call it Wolfenstein. I think it's coming out in October, I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that one. Let's see. Hellblade is August 8th, and I think that's going to share the same release date as Lawbreakers. So a lot of games, Madden's coming out. So we got 2 more weeks. I'm about to go buy Elite Dangerous. I'm going to put the money in the bank, and I'm going to come back and buy Elite Dangerous and get on there. So anybody, I think that my PS, I don't know. I'm going to activate PlayStation Plus. I'm at to download the game. So look for me about 3 o'clock. Everybody who has Elite Dangerous that wants to play it, look for me about 3 o'clock. You can either invite me into your game because I'll be playing it. I will be playing it. But I don't know how long it's going to take to download. And when I get PlayStation Plus, I'm also going to download Until Dawn. So, and whatever else I get for free, because why the hell not? So, but all right, guys, that's it. I'm going to bounce out of here like a check. I appreciate it again. NPD was won by Sony. Again, I'm only reporting it because it was almost 4-1 in sales. So, and the COMICCON news, very sad. Again, very sad about Chester Bennington killing himself from Linkin Park. Linkin Park was one of my favorite bands. I love doing their stuff at karaoke with a friend of mine. I do the rap part. He does the singing part. So hopefully we can hook that back up again, maybe record it. I'll put it up, I'll upload it or something like that. But shout out to everybody watching. I think we got up to like 25 to 30 people watching. So shout out to all you all. Anybody have any, I forgot this. Anybody have any questions before I go? All right, so Gamer Couch tomorrow, I will not be on there because I have to work. So if anybody had any question about that, but shout out to Fox. You all still need to go over there and support him anyway. So, because I'm sure he'll have a good podcast tomorrow. So, the dad from Home Alone died too? Damn. So, but yeah, big shout out to all the mods. I will be changing the mods up in August. So don't feel bad if you get unmodded. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just going to switch that out. Let everybody mod every once in a while. Yeah, Jay-Z hooked up with Linkin Park. Yeah, that's true too. And Linkin Park, they came in with a bunch of other bands. Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Sublime, Incubus, Papa Roach, all those bands that I just named all stem from what the Beastie Boys did on Paul's Boutique. When they recorded Paul's Boutique, which is still one of the best rap albums you can buy, had some bangers on there. My goodness, it's probably before you guys' time, but that's what Linkin Park did. Is they were doing it with live instruments. So I don't. And here's what's amazing is they dropped a new album like 2 months ago. So it's selling like hotcakes right now. But yeah, I like the Linkin Park song. Yeah, Beastie Boys classic. Yeah, Beastie Boys classic, Def Jam, baby. One of the first groups to sign on Def Jam. So, had them. They had a lot of Def Jam, a lot of Public Enemy and all those guys, all on Def Jam. LL Cool J, Beastie Boys. So yeah, the Roots. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, metal. Yeah, rap because it's the basis of all music because it's in fours. Everybody could add hip hop and rap to it. So, and again, hip hop is what it's called. Rap is what is part of hip hop. So, just remember that as far as a culture. So, tagging, graffiti writing, which is called bombing or something like that. It wasn't called graffiti writing. So, bombing, B-boy, break dancing, or B-boy and B-girl. So, all right, let go. All right, no, you guys are fine. I just kind of got into another story. So you guys are good. But shout out to all you all. But yeah, I'm just my thoughts on that. Again, you all check out Comic-Con. The DC live stream should be starting in the next 20 minutes. So go check that out because that's, again, I'm going to be downloading these games while that's on. And then after that, after the DC stream, I should be able to start playing. God willing, my electricity stays on because it's so effing hot here. So, Yeah, Pete Rock. Yeah, man, that's a classic one. Yeah, Pete Rock actually got approached to help produce a friend of mine's album back in the day. So, but he wanted too much money. So Pete Rock and CL Smooth got approached, and they both wanted too much money. So always good to produce your own content. So, but shout out to everybody that came. Like I said, over 32 people out of the analytics. Had like 32 people. So big shout out to everybody, all the mods. Big shout out to Obi DeJohn. I'm gonna definitely make him a mod if I don't have him already. So I will change the mods out, not till next month though. So not till next month. So that way everybody kind of gets a turn in the den. So what was the podcast again? This is Craig's Corner, Dion. Oh, the other podcast later tonight will be the Porchlight podcast. So I will wrap up because Marvel and DC's big E3 announcements, movie-wise and comic book-wise, are today. Okay, so I will wrap that up. Then I'm going to go into the UFO show, the Roswell crash. You all can look it up. We're going to be going over it. We're going to be going over why it's true. Okay, and we're going to go over some of the technologies that we're using from that crash. You're using them every day. You just didn't know about the reverse engineering. So, and we're going to go from there. We're going to go to how they married the technologies and everything. So, and even some of the stuff in video gaming you're using, you just didn't know. Okay. So, but we'll go over that now. So, so Tal, I'm going to go ahead and jump on Elite Dangerous here in the next hour and a half. So, but I'm going to go, guys. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for subbing. Like I said, I got 250 subs. So I said, my God, man. Somebody told me this, like I said, last year. I would have said no way. So we have recovered from Halo Storm storming out. That's why they call him Halo Storm. He stormed off last weekend. So, so we're going to go ahead and knock it off. At least I am. But guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for subbing. My goodness gracious. And thanks for listening. And hopefully the time, because what I'm going to start doing, and shout out to the two guys that told me this. And I apologize for eating on the last podcast, because that was gross. I listened to that again. That was nasty. So I'm not going to ever do that again. But shout out to the two guys. I can't think of their names. Who said I needed to try to get a set time. I think Porter Rock said it as well. So all you guys, that if I'm off work, and it doesn't matter if I'm what day that's on, because I work 3/12s, I will always podcast starting at noon. I will also announce that on Twitter. Okay, so you're going to have to follow me on Twitter. Also, there's a little bell down there at the sub thing. Hit that. You'll get notifications. And I'll always post like 2 hours before the podcast on what it's going to be about. So that I got to try to do that, because when I hit 250, I got to get it to be a little more professional. There's some things I got to learn how to do, like screen sharing, stuff like that. I still have trouble doing that. And it's probably very simple. So, but this shout out to everybody that came out this morning and this afternoon. Yeah, Halo Storm. Yeah. Yeah, he's like the little dog that got out of the house and now he's off on his own. So, but that's okay. It's cool. It's cool. But nevertheless, I appreciate you all being here. Been a good podcast. Thank you all for listening. And remember, just stay cool. If you have any issues going on in your life, go get help. I mean, come on. We lost Chris Cornell. We lost Chester Bennington. Both those guys were rich, so I don't want to hear people say, well, if you got money, you shouldn't be depressed. Just because you got money doesn't mean you don't have other problems. Remember the song, more money, more problems. So that's true. That wasn't a made-up moniker. People with more money, yes, their money issues go away, but other problems do arise. So, but again, just take care of yourselves, guys, especially in this heat. We're in a heat bubble here. Big shout out to Supersonic Wolf for coming in. Kratos, J-Dub, the guy at PlayStation. Got to do a podcast with him. I'm going to hopefully try to set something up Monday or Tuesday. Go check out Foxy Games podcast tomorrow. I won't be there, but check him out. He may have Wolf Flow on there. So big shout out to all those guys on there. Shout out to Next Gen 720, the multiplayer gaming podcast. My boy Jay Fonz, go check him out. Shout out to everybody that came out this morning and this evening and listen. Shout out to the people on the left, right, China, Scandinavia, Germany, and Australia, and New Guinea, and New Zealand. So shout out to all you folks. So appreciate it. This is Craig's Corner. I am signing out. And if you go out tonight, wear white.